When I was 16, I designed a computer game in this notebook, and it was awesome. But then, it got lost. Or was it?
Boomers and Zoomers, super welcome to today's video, guys. Today we will be taking a journey back to when leather capes, green matrix coding and the offsprings were the cool things on your mind. I'm of course talking about the 90s, so what do you say we do this, shall we?
Hope you're ready, you mother flippin' turd pile, because I am the X-Slayer.
And today's amazing 90s cool guy on the grill is no other than the Slayer's X-Terminal Aftermath, Vengeance of the Slayer. Absolute nuts name and a genius one at that. It makes the game stand out, even if you haven't seen it yet. It's proper brilliant.
This is brilliant.
As the Brits would say, or would they? I honestly have no idea what the Brits would say, but hey, drop a comment, let me know. Now let's start this journey off by traveling to the game's story. Because there is one in this game, and it's wicked, it's rad, and it's pretty deep and funny at the same time.
This is brilliant.
You, my 90s cool guy, you play as Zane, one of the X-Slayers. Your hometown gets invaded by the mother-flipping psychos, some kind of altered monstrosities assembled in a top-secret basement. And they kill your mom as they invade your town. Of course, you cannot let this pass, so you set out on a vengeance adventure to kill the psychos and avenge your mom's death. And along the journey, you will come across some pretty odd but very charming characters. And that is not all. The story is very, very odd, with a mix of incredibly silly and very serious. And sprinkle in some twists and turns throughout every corner of the game. And honestly, a part of me wants to say that this is not a good story for a game. But thinking about it, it really stuck with me, and there is something happening all the time that either makes you laugh, feel uncomfortable or mad. And when a game does all of those things with its story, it is a fucking banger of a story, and that is facts, my friends.
This is brilliant.
Now, when I first jumped into this game, I thought I wouldn't give a rat's ass about the story given the overall tone of the game. But alas, I was so wrong, because the story plays a huge role in this game, and it does play it so fucking well for what it is. And what is it? Well, it's a 90s teenager wildest dream of a video game. I can honestly relate so much to my young teenage brain myself when playing this game. It's ridiculous how well it nails it. But I do want to emphasize, when it comes to the story, I don't think it will be for everyone. Either you will find it uncomfortable throughout your whole playthrough, or you will be like me in this instance and love it. Because the story is so strong, so colorful and so wild and crazy, there really is no middle thing here. You will either hate it or you will love it. Now, my cool 90s kids, what do you say we jump to the heart of the game? The gameplay. Now, the gameplay is just as crazy as the story, if not even more crazy. So let's start with the guns. And yes, I'm going to show you all of them because I want to. And if you don't want to see all of them, well, just fast forward with the timestamps in the description or manually with the text popping up right now. Okay, here we go. First up, we got the melee weapon. Works as you'd imagine it would, but if charged by picking up hack blood charges that drops from killing enemies, you can fire energy beams with it. Not overly powerful, not very useful honestly, so I'll just leave it at that. Then we got the dual guns. And if you got an inner modern gangsta inside of you, then this is the go-to. It fires fast, it does not do a ton of damage, but it does switch up its animations as you fire, and it is a pleasure to use it. Then we got my favorite gun, the glass shotgun.
You think you're twisted?
It fires broken glass at your enemies, and you get ammo for it by destroying glass and picking up the broken glass pieces. It's a genius idea, and it sounds and feels very nice, but it does not have very much range to speak of. Then we got some exploding canned poop that you fire with a crossbow. I mean, your regular gun that you find in every single game, right?
This is brilliant.
It works pretty much as you'd expect a grenade launcher would, but it does not bounce. It explodes on impact, and it's very hard taking down more than one enemy at a time with this thing. The AoE, it's not great. Then, my friends, we move to the minigun. I have no idea what this thing is made out of, but it looks cool and holy shit does it pack a punch. You can mow down anything with this thing. And say for an example, you shoot turds with it, well, it's gonna be covered in poop if you're too close doing it. Disgusting, but a really nice detail.
This is brilliant.
Oh, and the same thing goes for blood, but that's not as cool. And then we got the rocket launcher. And this, my friends, is not your standard rocket launcher. Let me tell you that much. This one fires 3 rockets at a time, and it has the AoE, it has the solo impact damage. And this, my friends, is the go-to weapon on any and all harder enemies in the game. So don't go wasting its ammo on turds. Now the last weapon in the game is a hack blood power, and it has such a cool ability and ways to fire it that I won't spoil it. And the acquiring of the power is pretty intense, so I'm gonna leave it as a little bit of a mystery. But you will see footage of it rolling, as it has already been shown in trailers, but I will still leave some mystery surrounding it.
This is brilliant.
The weapons, they are a blast. And I just love how unique every single weapon is by their looks and how they fire. First impression of the guns without actually playing the game might be that holy shit, these are some silly ass guns, they're probably gonna be crap. But trust me, they pack a punch and they are a pleasure to play with.
This is brilliant.
You can really feel how they've been worked on into the smallest of detail to make them as good as they are in the game. They are well balanced, well optimized, look fantastic, sound great, are very unique, and most importantly, they are so fun to use. Now the levels and enemies, they are just as wicked as everything else we talked about thus far. The levels will take you through stores, carnivals, camping sites, and much more. All of these different settings, with a touch of realism and craziness to them, are so freaking fun to explore and kill stuff in. They all boast a ton of fun details to explore, secrets to uncover, and a shit ton of crazy ways to navigate through them.
This is brilliant.
And not only that, they are well thought out in every single, and I mean it, every single level. I was given the impression of exploring and a sense of freedom, not being locked in a super linear path, even though at almost all times I was. The game is a linear one, but the levels are designed with freedom in mind. You can detract if you come across a small opening or a little vent that you can walk through, but somehow it still leads you to the intended path every single time. And if you feel like you missed something because you did detract from the main path, or just want to explore further, you can always run back and forth just as you please. The game will not lock you in. And yes, my friends, the game has keys. You need keys to progress. But honestly, more times than not, I had already picked up the keys without even knowing I had. 2 times throughout my whole playthrough, I had to actively look for keys or buttons to press. So my conclusion is that they are not very hard to find. What really made the levels stand out for me is how much they actually remind me of Duke Nukem, based off locations that you could come across in real life, mixed in with some crazy and absurd stuff that barely your wildest imagination can come up with. In my opinion, it's just something that more developers should dare to do, because it is just so much fun to explore and look at.
This is brilliant.
Now, I won't touch too much on the enemies, but I will tell you this. They are just as weird as the rest of the game. None of them are hit scanners. They can truly be killed with skill, no matter the difficulty you put on. And every single enemy you come across has different attacks to kill you with. But if I have to nag on something, it's that I would have liked to see 2 or more enemy variations in the game.
That's not good enough!
So the gameplay, if you didn't already get that, is really enjoyable. The design of everything and the story just tingles my teenage nerve in such a good way. It brings me back to when I was sitting in my room, having the Offspring CD on repeat, and having half as much troubles in life as I do right now. And it's all done with such a passion and huge amount of attention to detail, and that really shines through as you play the game. Everything is just so well balanced, and most of all, it is so much fun. And before we leave the gameplay, friends, I also want to mention that the controls are very tight feeling. They are responsive, there is bunny hopping, there is fast walking, and there is a sprint. And even though it is of high quality and most part feels great, it can almost feel off sometimes. Why is that, you ask? Well, the movement feels like the most modern part in the whole game, and that almost made it feel off at sometimes. It's weird, I know, but it's true.
You're serious?
Yeah, I'm actually dead serious.
You're doing that again.
It is super weird, but it is true.
Oh, honey.
You don't think so? Okay, let's continue. Now, my 90s cool kids, we have reached the graphics segment of this journey. And oh boy, the graphics are pure garbage. It's like taking the glass ammo for the shotgun and pouring it in your eyes as you try to stare at the sun at the same time. It's horrible and I fucking love it. It's going for this build engine look, and before actually asking the developer what engine it was running on, I thought it was the build engine mixed with some wizardry. But why I had to ask the developer was because I could see some glimpses here and there of it using a little too modern technology for it to be purely build engine. And alas, it is not running on the build engine, but on Unity, but with a very, very horrible look to it, just as intended. Now it might sound like I'm bashing on the graphics, and in a way it looks absolutely terrible, but on the other hand, that's exactly how it's supposed to look, and it really, really nails it.
This is brilliant.
This has to be one of the best shit-looking games made in Unity, and with shit-looking, I mean of course, old school, fabulous, beautiful, build engine looking. Shit translates to amazing in this case. Makes sense, right? Good, let's continue. And now it's time for the waves that gets transported into your ears. I'm of course talking about the audio. Okay, so imagine you're playing a game from the mid to late 90s. The audio quality is much worse than in today's standard. And I do dare to say that a lot, if not all, of today's boomer shooters uses audio from today's technology and standard. But not this game, my friends. It is both sounding and looking really old. But it is not of such low quality that it hurts the experience. But instead what it does is heighten that teenage feeling of having the Offsprings on repeat in your room.
This is brilliant.
And the OST is unfortunately not the Offsprings.
That's not good enough!
The OST is made by Seepage and Psycho Syndicate, which I have no idea who they are, but the theme song got really stuck in my head. It's even going on a loop in there as I'm writing this. They did a really good job with the music, even though it not being my type of music, it fits the overall theme of the game and the main character saying incredibly well. So in conclusion guys, this game is a fucking blast from the past if I ever played one. It nails pretty much everything that it sets out to do. But don't go into this expecting a modern interpretation of boomer shooters. Go into this expecting to relive what once was, but made in today's day and age. And if that is what you want and your brain is ready for a crazy, absurd and wild ride, well then my friends, you're going to love this game. Now before you run off and throw all your hard-earned money on this 19th love letter, I highly recommend you take a little break and enjoy some of these amazing boomer shooters.